Hello, and it's good to have you join us again on Maritime Radar. Nigeria remains a pivot of West Africa's oil and gas and maritime activities owing to its strategic locations in the Gulf of Guinea. Blessed with vast inland waterways resources estimated at over 3,000 kilometers comprising more than 50 rivers that can support a vibrant intra-regional trade. Nigeria is the largest oil producer in Africa and the 5th largest exporter of liquefied natural gas in the world. Nigeria's size and population are key drivers for large-scale importation, especially of petroleum products owing to the lack of sufficient refining capacity. The oil, gas and maritime industry have for decades been of strategic importance to the economy and even political stability of Nigeria, and its crude oil and natural resources are the backbone of its economy. NLNG Shipping and Marine Services Limited rebranding and its role in Nigeria's maritime and energy sectors are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I'm Norma Obiaswala. Nigeria, which is ranked the 7th largest oil producer in the world, is the only oil-producing country that does not carry a drop of its crude. Industry statistics shows that Nigeria generates an estimated annual cargo throughput of 150 million metric tons with freight earnings in excess of $5 billion in her international trade transactions. 95% of this income is earned by foreigners with job deprivation that comes from it. The same dominance by foreigners is also extended to the domestic shipping market, where an estimated $3 billion annual marine-related spending in oil and gas production activities are virtually earned by foreigners. What is seen is a situation of so much activity and so much money, but little impact on the lives of Nigerians. No wonder the country's bad economy accounts for the high level of frustration and restiveness in the country. With this in mind, the federal government of Nigeria came up with the Cabotage law in the maritime industry and the local content policy in the oil and gas sector to tackle this challenge. Yet, implementation or political will has ensured the almost death of Nigeria's shipping sector. Before we get further into today's lineup on the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
The Nigeria Customs Service has begun enforcing a 2-year exemption on import duties and value-added tax for essential healthcare products, following a directive from the federal government aimed at strengthening the health sector and improving access to critical medical supplies. In a statement signed by the Assistant Controller Abdullahi Mewada, National Public Relations Officer of the NCS, the waiver applies to active pharmaceutical ingredients, excipients, long-lasting insecticidal nets, rapid diagnostic kits, reagents, packaging materials, and other essential raw materials used in pharmaceutical production. The directive was approved by the President through the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Olawale Edun. The removal of import duties and VAT is expected to lower production costs, encourage new investment, and foster a more resilient healthcare industry in Nigeria. According to the statement, only pharmaceutical manufacturers recognized by the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare will be eligible for the waiver. Additionally, eligible manufacturers must possess a valid tax identification number, ensuring that the benefits are directed at genuine stakeholders committed to strengthening the country's healthcare infrastructure. Mauritius government has affirmed its commitment to transforming bunkering hub of the region through legislative reforms. During the 2025 Maritime Week Africa, the Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries, Dr. Arvin Bulel, highlighted that the week was a defining moment for Africa's marine fuels industry, offering a unique opportunity to embrace change, plan strategically for the future, and shape the region's maritime landscape. He also added that as a small island developing state, Mauritius must leverage the full potential of the blue economy, which he described as Africa's new frontier for economic growth. He urged African nations to collaborate and adopt innovative strategies to ensure a fair and equitable maritime sector. The Special Envoy and Advisor for Maritime and Blue Economy, Executive Office of the President of Kenya, Nancy Kariguthu, outlined the immense economic potential of Africa's maritime zones, indicating that the blue economy holds the key to job creation, wealth generation, and socio-economic progress across the continent.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. NLNG Shipping and Marine Services Limited, a subsidiary of Nigeria LNG Limited, is a pioneer in the gas and LNG business and also a leading integrated shipping and maritime services company that provides a wide range of services including vessel technical management, crew management, maritime project management, and more. Abdul-Kabir Ahmed, the managing director and CEO of NSML, shares on the recent rebranding of the organization, its significance to the global maritime industry, their plans on human capacity building, ship registry, and more. Stay with us. It's good to have you join us on the show, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Let me start by congratulating you and your organization on your rebranding and commitment to sustainable maritime industry. And I see you rank the most successful indigenous maritime company. Tell us about this milestone.
Well, thanks again. So again, it's really a reflection of the journey that we've embarked upon as an entity. NSML has evolved significantly since it was created about 15 years ago as a purely mining company. And that evolution took us into technical management of LNG vessels. And then we took over the Bonny terminal and went into marine services. And the rebranding really started about a couple of years ago when we had a name change. And then this week
from ship management, I guess.
From ship management to NLNG Shipping and Marine Services Limited. And now the logo change, it really reflects basically where we're coming from, where we are today, and our aspiration for the future, basically. And it's really around having that image of a world-class integrated marine services company that is anchored on operational excellence, on safety, on reliability, but most importantly, on sustainability.
What's about the name change? Is that a strategy?
It is a strategy. It's really reflective of, one, our growth, where we're coming from, as I said, but equally our growth aspiration. As I said, we started as a purely mining company. Along the way, we developed the capacity to now technically manage the LNG vessels.
Okay, so what I understand is the name change is to bring together whatever you've evolved into.
Absolutely.
Is the name change.
Absolutely.
Okay, you also a major player in the Nigerian and global shipping business. Tell us your plan about capacity building. Most especially, do you have any plan to establish a training institution or supporting existing institutions in Nigeria? Also looking at training in key areas like ship management, indigenous shippers and surveyors.
Yeah, well, thanks. So again, the foundation of NSML really is about the capacity of our people. All right, it started, as I said, from a mining company where we had to take some Nigerian cadets, train them into this complex activity, build the capacity. And as part of our evolution, one of the things that we've done is to set up the Maritime Center of Excellence in Bonny, which is an advanced maritime training institute with all the advanced...
Existing today?
It is in existence today. With all the advanced simulators, equipment, courses, and actually last year we were the first sub-Saharan African institute to have the MC accreditation for 2 of our courses. And we're working towards upgrading the center this year so that the center will be fully accredited for advanced maritime training. So we put a lot of emphasis on capacity development because ultimately shipping and marine services is really about the capacity of people. And it's important that we are able to train our people and seafarers to the highest levels and standards. The industry is evolving very fast, both in terms of technology and in terms of the way we do business. And if people really need to remain the foundation of that industry, then capacity development is something that you can joke with. So we do have an emphasis on that. The MCOE is open. It's not just simply for our own use. It is open to the industry. And we are currently running programs for external parties at the MCOE. We actually have a partnership with the OPTS where we're running it's called the Marine Accelerator Program, where we're training some of the marine contractors in all aspects of marine operations, safety, reliability, inspections. And we had the first batch of 100. We're now in the process of having the second batch of 150. So it's something that we do continuously. Yeah.
Okay, I think you may need to create more awareness of your training institutions, and then I think supporting all the existing institutions should also be what your organization should consider. Okay, does the global rejection of Nigerian Seafarers COC certification, does it worry you? And what solutions do you think you will be preferring in that regard, sir? Because like Philippines, Nigeria should be exporting seafarers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for us, it's crucial. As about the only international ocean-going ship management company locally, it's imperative that our seafarers are accepted in every port our vessels visit. And the non-acceptance of Nigerian COCs, it's a major hindrance. But what are we doing about that? Again, like I said, it's about acceptance. And acceptance really is about how you are able to change perception of your processes, your systems of accreditation. It's an activity that I know the DG of NIMASA really takes very seriously. In all the conversations that we've had with them, they've put that front and central. And it's something that we are absolutely supportive of. And we're working together to see how do we ensure that, one, we evaluate the systems and processes within NIMASA as the accrediting body so that it is acceptable. And two, how do we identify those gaps and close those gaps that will make Nigerian COCs, accredited COCs, acceptable internationally. It will help us because it basically would mean we would have a larger pool to employ from in terms of our vessels.
It worries me that if Nigerian seafarers have to go to Ghana.
Exactly.
Okay, what are your plans, or what are the plans of NLNG to flag the BGT-owned vessels to Nigerian flag?
So yeah, there was a reason why the vessels weren't flagged Nigerian in the first instance, which is simply a reflection that the Nigerian flag at a particular stage was not recognized or acceptable internationally. Now our vessels call at every port globally. And it's imperative that in doing so, they must be flagged in, with a flag that is acceptable to those jurisdictions. Okay, the flagging of the flagging of Nigerian vessels is similar to the COC accreditation. It's still about the systems, it's about the processes, it's about the sustainability of those systems and processes. And for us, we are quite clear that we are not averse to flagging our vessels with the Nigerian flag, provided that flag is internationally accepted. And it requires a lot of work to get to that level of acceptance, because if we get to that level of acceptance, then why not?
So next we'll be looking at the challenges you have with the regulators like NIMASA and MPA and also as export. But that will be after the short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Reader, and I still have with me Abdul-Kabir Ahmed. He is the Managing Director and CEO, NLNG Shipping and Marine Services Limited. Before we went on that break, I said, what are the challenges your organization faces with regulators like NIMASA, Nigerian Port Authority, And talk to us about the partnership you have with MPA on operational collaboration in terms of export.
Thank you. So for me, like I said, I will look at it more as opportunities for improvement. We do have quite a lot of relationships with NIMASA and MPA, obviously as the regulators. Are there challenges? Absolutely. In everything in life, you do have challenges. But I think for us, the key element, and I think with a lot of regulators in Nigeria, it's about the plethora of regulations that you have to adhere to. And sometimes even the confusion with regards to who is responsible for what. But what I see is things are beginning to really become clearer. The other aspect of it from a shipping point of view is that the domestication of international maritime regulations locally, so that they are enforceable locally. So the IMO regulations need to be domesticated locally before you can enforce them. Every member state has a duty and requirement to domesticate those regulations. While some have, some haven't. So you do kind of see that uneven playing field because of the lack of domestication. However, I think, like I said, it's about all of us working together to find a way of ensuring that we address some of these challenges. We've spoken earlier around the COC certification, right? It's, again, a challenge. We just have to put our house in order. Good thing is that started, and I do believe in a very short while we will have something positive to tell the nation in that respect. But we do have an excellent working relationship with NIMASA and MPA. With NIMASA, for example, we are one of their major partners when it comes to the cadetship program. So far, over 300 cadets have actually sailed on our vessels. Out of those, at least 100 have been employed by us. With MPA, obviously MPA owns the Bonny terminal, even though we manage it. But we do have an excellent working relationship with MPA. One of the areas that we've been discussing with them about has been the installation of a VTS, vessel tracking management system across all port domain. It's something that I believe will really change the nature of port operations in Nigeria. The other aspect, of course, is the single window. Currently, we are already more advanced than most other terminals in the country when it comes to the single window, what we call the Smart Port Initiative, where essentially everybody sees everything that's happening and can make an input without having to go on board the vessel. So it's really around ensuring we create an environment for efficiency. The industry is global, the industry is competitive, and the only way you can survive in such an industry is to be efficient.
So before you go to the export part of the question I asked, you mentioned single window. You said the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy is pushing that narrative, and they just have a conference for days on this.
Yes.
So we are looking at these maritime agencies to implement this. So how did this come to you? Looking at this implementation, do you think it's something that could have, who should pioneer it? What should be done? Since you have something that is similar and is working.
So it's a step in the right direction. It's, because obviously when you're looking at all the port domains, then there has to be a higher level, which the ministry has taken it on board, and together with other agencies of government. What we've tried to do is simply looking at it from the point of view of our own port operation. How do we make it seamless? How do we make it more efficient?
Competitive.
Well, the element of competitive is to ensure that the port is available and you can come in and go out as quickly as possible. The Bonny port today is practically the busiest port in Nigeria. We have the capacity to handle a vessel a day.
So it's competing with Lagos?
Okay, let me fix. The most busiest oil and gas terminal in Nigeria. We have the capacity to load and dispatch a vessel a day, 365 days a year.
Interesting.
And for that to work, it means all the other agencies need to be able to work seamlessly. And that's what the Smart Port Initiative came into being. Having a single portal where all relevant parties, all stakeholders that have a function in terms of clearance, in terms of loading, in terms of all sorts of things that you need to do on the vessel for the vessel to come in, load and depart. are able to do that seamlessly. And that's what really the single window is essentially trying to achieve. We are, as a country, behind. But the good thing is we've recognized that and we've kickstarted that process, and it's only going to get better.
The level of involvement of Nigerian ship owners in cabotage trade and crude oil lifting is low amidst the Cabotage Act, the Cabotage and even the Local Content Act.
Yeah.
So, are you worried about this trend? What solutions will you be profiling, especially looking at shipping development in Nigeria?
So 2 things. Am I worried? Yes. As a Nigerian, I am. We are an oil-producing country. The bulk of our oil, all our oil is exported. The value that can be created from shipping the products is tremendous, and the accelerator and multiplier effect will be quite immense. So the fact that we still are at that stage where the bulk of our oil is actually lifted by non-Nigerian entities means that there's value on the table that we're leaving behind. Okay? But I always tend to emphasize on this. There are no shortcuts to it. Okay? The first things first is about building capacity. Right? Because it is capital intensive. It's about building capacity, ensuring that we have the capability to compete internationally, not just locally.
Because shipping is international.
It is international. And in doing that, you need to, first of all, of course, funding is critical. Competence and capacity is also required. And the regulatory framework for ensuring a level playing field is also required. And of course, you will expect a bit of national interest to come into play when it comes to promulgating certain incentives for local ship owners to first own vessels, operate vessels, to lift these cargoes. Ultimately, shipping is only an enabler. It's a critical aspect of the oil and gas business, but it's an enabler. And in a competitive industry, every chain of that value chain needs to be competitive. So we can't have a weak chain within the value, a weak segment of the value chain if we really want to be competitive in the international markets. That's what we've been trying to do in NSML since inception. We started slow, basically training the people, providing manpower. We developed the capacity to effectively manage the vessels before we expanded into other areas of marine services. It's a gradual process, but we're quite comfortable, and that's part of the reasons why our rebranding is really a recognition that we've come a long way. We've built the institutional framework and competence to now look outwards and expand. And that's really the essence of our rebranding.
I must ask you this. As a big brother,
Am I?
In the indigenous shipping industry, what is the one thing that you will say to indigenous ship owners?
Most importantly, and I really am quite strong about this, we must come together and create and adhere to the standards.
Collaboration.
Collaboration is absolutely key. You cannot grow an industry just purely from competition. We are a nascent industry, competing globally with global entities that have been at it for much longer than we have. We can't afford to have micro competition amongst ourselves. There has to be collaboration. And I think for me, if there is a message, it's really around indigenous ship owners coming together, pulling resources together, and collaborate.
Critical. I know you are used to this question.
Right.
Anytime you get the audience of the media, you're asked your commitment and supporting the development of reputable Nigerian ship registry.
Yep. Well, the commitment has always been there, and it's been part of it. Is I remember a few 2013 or so, we were involved in supporting an internal assessment of the ship registry, the standards, the processes of the ship registry to ensure that we can identify gaps and close those. Now, the context of a ship registry is really around international acceptance. right? It's about international acceptance, because if it is internationally acceptable, then it will attract ship owners. Okay. And the reasons why ship owners want to flag their vessels at a flag that is internationally acceptable, because then it eases their operations. And this is where the essence of the flag, of the registry, is absolutely important, to be sure that we cross all T's and dot all I's. For us in NSML, we're 100% supportive of that. We are part of the committee set up by NIMASA to look into that, and we are fully committed in ensuring that we drive that process to a level where we can all look back and say, yes, we were able to achieve that and create a registry that, one, is acceptable, but two, competitive as well.
I must say that I've enjoyed myself. It's a pleasure talking to a big brother, really. You have to take that. To indigenous ship owners, something has been said. The role of collaboration, putting heads together, funding together, to be able to drive the indigenous shipping industry. It's been Abdul-Kabir Ahmed, Managing Director and CEO, NLNG Shipping and Marine Services Limited. I must thank you for your time, your thoughts on the show, and the solutions that you provide so far. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, congratulations in all that you do.
It was nice. It was, again, excellent program. I've actually watched a couple of your shows in the past, and I think that's excellent.
Wow, that's good to hear.
So much. Thanks for the invite. Thank you so much.
And that's our show this week. Join us every week on Maritime Radar as we explore potential that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global and local maritime news plus industry insights right here. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Many thanks for your time and see you again next week.